Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Obviously now so I wanted to talk about the cost of watching football because Newcastle United have announced increases to the Champions League. Obviously we've been waiting for the Champions League tickets to come out. Now look, it's not a massive increase, but still it's an increase regardless. I do have further down with us before anybody starts. He's tied up to his seatbelt. He can't get any further than what he currently is, so he can't obstruct us. But going back to the topic in hand, so the Champions League prices are now 60 quid next season, and Newcastle will have guaranteed at least 4 home games and 4 away ones. So my question for you who don't go to games is, how much are you paying to watch? And I'm talking legally speaking, not a dodgy stick or anything like that. How much are you paying legally to watch Sky, TNT, Amazon Prime, DAZN, whatever you've got to watch Newcastle United? Now if you're abroad, you are paying pennies, literally tenner, 15 quid maximum per month, because you're an international fan. And obviously the chances of you getting to games are incredibly slim unless you're paying over the odds for hospitality. Whereas somebody in the UK can get a lot more games. Some people just don't choose to, which is their choice. Some people just can't get tickets because of the demand. But it costs die-hard supporters up and down the land hundreds and hundreds. It costs me per season thousands. An away day, especially one that's down London or further beyond, that costs me on average over 200 quid per away day. That's for the match ticket, which is 30 quid, which has been capped, which is good. The fuel, which costs me about 100 quid. Hotel on top, because naturally it's tiring driving there and back on top of all the video editing I've got to do. Now, some people might say, well, that's your choice. Of course it's my choice, but it's still costing me that money. And sometimes I've got to pay for getting the dog looked after if it's overnight, because family won't have him overnight, which annoys us, but it is what it is. So, and then you times that by how many games I go to a season, which away days are minimum 25 away, minimum. That'll increase with the Champions League back. And then you've got the home games on top, and then you've got pre-season. So for me, as a match-going fan, home and away, pre-season, post-season, during the season, and the women in account, because remember I go to all the women games as well, I would say I spend this probably between 5,000 to 6,000 every year on Newcastle United, maybe even more. I haven't calculated. That's just a rough estimate. And now people who are not at games, it's still costing them, because if you've got all these subscriptions, that's probably in the region of 70 to 100 quid per month, and then you're locked into a contract for 12, 18 or 24 months, so that figure runs into thousands as well. So if you've got a subscription, let's just say you're paying the higher rate of 100 quid, you times that by 12, that's 1,200 per year that you're paying to watch Newcastle United or Premier League in general. Now what my concern is that Newcastle is a city of working class. We have lower wages than the rest of London. Naturally, house prices are lower as well. And it kind of gets neglected by a lot of the governments in the past. Now, I don't want to get too political, because the way the economy and the way the UK is at the minute is just run to a shithole, in all honesty. The way that people are allowed into the country and all this sort of stuff, and it's just an absolute shithole in terms of how it's being run. However, getting back to the cost, now Champions League games are 60 quid. Now, granted, that's not as bad as Aston Villa were charging, but the increase of season tickets has gone up again. And yes, it might only be a small margin and the spreading over a longer period, but it went up last season as well, and this summer it has again. How much are we going to prepare to put up with it? Because if you don't go, the next person in line goes. So how do you beat that? Naturally, you cannot, because the next person in line is just waiting to take your ticket. It's a difficult one, and I just didn't think it's fair. Now, granted, yes, we got a couple of pints free. Well, I didn't personally, but people are getting a couple of pints free towards the end of the season. That's a start, because I think that should be a lot more. I think that should be mandatory for an away day now. At least, you're getting all the way to likes of Southampton and Bournemouth. At least reward the fans with a pint or something like that when you get there. That's just my opinion. But how do you tackle that though? Because it's annoying us a little bit. because also the domestic prices of the FA Cup is 30 quid. Now you might think 30 quid's not bad, but I want to take you back to a scenario that the season's just ended. We had Bromley and Arsenal in the space of literally a few days. The Arsenal game at St James's Park was £20 for a semi-final of the League Cup. Bromley, who are 3 tiers lower, was £10 more. Now, before you all come at me, and that's obviously the price and the structure of the competitions, but that seriously needs looked into. 20 quid for an Arsenal game, I expect to pay more for semi-final than what I do against Bromley. Bromley, I expect to pay less. I mentioned it on the last word when we were doing it, I just didn't think it's right. And obviously there is a lot of talk with fans are being exploited, especially loyalty, because loyalty, the heartbeat of Newcastle United, is the people that go, whether you like that or not. That's fact. They're the heartbeat of Newcastle United. And I think that gets exploited a little bit. And I think it needs looked into. It really does. And it's not just Newcastle. I'm not having a dig at Newcastle United because it's just slowly gone up. But how many times can you slowly keep putting it up? Obviously, we see no investment last summer. And it was no European football either. Disappointing, isn't it? But I wanted to bring that up. I had a meeting with the club 2 weeks ago. Had to keep it quiet. There was some other Newcastle fans there as well. And obviously the WSL have released it. I wanted to get Juliet's opinion. Obviously, she's obviously nuts about our women's football in general. And Joe, of course, is our lad, Joe. He loves his women's football as well. He has their take on the principles that are going to change and the impact that will have on women's football.
Hi guys, Juliet here, and I have a huge update, something that's really exciting to tell you all today. So today at a WSL football shareholders event, subject to the approval of the FA board, the clubs voted to expand the Women's Super League, or the Barclays WSL as some of you know it as, to 14 teams from the 2026-2027 season. Now this is something I personally am so excited about. It means we're going to have more WSL teams, more spotlight on women's football, and hopefully we can have Newcastle United women stepping into the Barclays WSL, which is just so exciting. So to expand to the 14 teams, it was agreed that up to 3 teams would be promoted from the Barclays WSL 2. The top 2 teams would automatically be promoted, and there would be a playoff. I know we all love a playoff, how exciting. It's like that tension, who's going to go through, who's going to be the better team on the day. So that's really exciting. There would be a playoff between the 12th place Barclays WSL side and the 3rd place Barclays WSL 2 side to decide who is going to go up, who's going to go down, who's going to stay. It's all very exciting. So they would have a playoff. The WSL 2 is going to continue as a 12 league team, but there will be promotion opportunities. I'd love to know, what do you guys think about this? Do we think by the 2026 season, Newcastle are going to be there? Are they going to be in the playoff against that WSL side? Or are they going to be one of those top 2 teams from the WSL 2 who's automatically going to gain that promotion into the Barclays WSL? Let us know your thoughts, and fingers crossed we'll be seeing Newcastle in there soon. Bye guys.
I know. I like that news as well, Becky. It's going to be good for us, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, Lee. Sorry, guys. Thank you very much for passing this over. Yes. We are being able to be more promotions, 14 teams in the WSL, more promotions. Yes, it's going to result in potential some weird relegations and promotion processes in like 3rd place or 2nd place playing 2nd lowest place in the WSL. It's a little bit confusing to wrap your head around. I understand that, but it'll become second nature to it. It'll be something that we'll understand very well in time. Honestly, I think it's a step in the right direction massively. Let's focus on getting these teams sustainable. Let's focus on these teams making profit, and let's start having more options and more incentive for once. Because once the League Cup and once the FA Cup's out the window, which for a majority of teams happens quite early, especially when you consider how late the WSL teams come in, and the Championship teams, as a matter of fact. I think this is the best way to go, so that teams fighting at the top of the Championship have an incentive. What's going to be the motive for us to finish so high? For us last season, it was just, let's prove ourselves, make a good showing, and see how high Newcastle can finish. Now we know we're not getting promoted. It's going to be a new incentive for all of these teams. It's going to be a way for them to go, right, we've still got something to fight for. The season's not over. This isn't just about finishing 4th or 3rd. This is now about finishing 2nd place, getting into that playoff place and moving up into the WSL with potentially the trophy winning team. I think personally, it's the best step forward in promoting the women's game and making it better. We've just got to ensure that it's sustainable. That's all. Anyways, me and Becky are back having a cuppa, so in a bit, guys.
So there you go indeed. A piece of news for you is going around. Obviously, the pricing of tickets really knocks me. What can you do? What can we do? What can we do with it? Just not going anymore. So that's what we do. Get to spend more time with me though, wouldn't you? But then I'll become depressed. Not if I'm not spending the time with you. It'll be going to games. But, and obviously the restructure of the league, the women's game, is a good thing. It has to be a good thing. It has to be. Because at the minute it was 1 up, 1 down. Also with the restructure as well, is that it'll happen with the North and South regional tier 3s. It'll get an extra place to come up as well. So it's a knock-on effect for them. So it gives them a chance also at getting the championship as well. More teams, which is better, I guess. But there you go. And that is a little bit of a roundup of the news the past day or two here on Newcastle Fans TV. Plenty more coming. Obviously, we are counting down to going abroad as well. I've got all my flights paid for. I'm over there, so loads of pre-season stuff happening. And I cannot wait for that as well. But yeah, me and Ferdinand will love you and leave you because we're going to get into the shop. Surprise, surprise, for some of years. But love you and leave you, ta-ra.